And it has long been observed that weather can have a big impact on voter turnout on an election day. However, what happens when not one, but two massive hurricanes wreak havoc just ahead of a vote for the most powerful office in the United States? And to further complicate matters, swing states have been some of the worst hit. Okay, with us to discuss how much of an impact weather events have on voter turnout is Mary C. Curtis. She is a columnist at Roll Call newspaper that covers the U.S. Congress. She's also host of the podcast Equal Time. It's good to see you again. Thanks for coming on and chatting with us, Mary.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay, tremendous interest in this upcoming election. I think everybody can agree on that, and so much at stake. And I guess to some, it would be surprising that bad weather could play a role in the outcome. Your thoughts on this?
Well, it plays a role in many ways, and I am here now in Charlotte, North Carolina, which of course is a swing state, and it is one of the states that is affected. It plays a role, first of all, in the turnout. We heard in the report 25 counties. Now 23 of those voted for Trump for the most part, but the two that voted for President Biden were the most populous counties. So we don't now know how that will play. We also saw that where in the past, natural disasters were not politicized. Now everything is political. So there was a lot of misinformation spread about the federal response from FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So some people were hesitant to actually get the aid that was there because they had heard misinformation about FEMA. Right. And then, of course, there's the issue of climate change. Asheville, Western North Carolina, is not thought to be a place that really has these kinds of storms. And a lot of that was due to global warming, climate change. And the two parties have very different really takes on it. The Democrats really do more for that and believe in it. Republicans have said it's a hoax, including Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. And young voters in particular of every party, this is an important issue.
Yeah. Okay. As you mentioned, you are coming to us from North Carolina, and I hope you weathered Helene okay. But what a crushing blow it dealt to the foothills of Appalachia. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's nowhere near the coast. It's supposed to be far away from hurricanes and safe. So do you think that the recent hurricanes and extreme weather events have affected the candidates' climate positions, especially, as you said, one candidate claims climate change is a hoax?
Well, they really haven't moved off their positions very much. And of course, one reason we know is the lobbyists from the fossil fuel industry have sort of wanted them to pull back on their efforts in this area. And the former President Trump, who is running as the Republican nominee, has said, drill, baby, drill. He is very much into fossil fuels. So they really haven't changed it that much. In fact, they really haven't addressed it as much as I would think they would, because as I said, young voters, they're both trying to capture those voters. This is their future. So they have listed the environment as a major issue for them.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be pressing, especially for these generations that are coming up. Now, what is the likelihood that we'll see new federal measures for disaster preparedness and recovery? And what do you think those could look like under Harris or Trump? And the Project 2025, I think we have to talk about that. Trump is trying to distance himself from that, but it is an ultra-conservative GOP blueprint, and it calls for the future gutting of FEMA.
Yes, they talked about shrinking some of the budget, handing it out to the states. And of course, people who want small government, when they undergo a natural disaster, they want government help. And I think you might see some regulations on building these kinds of things, because we've seen many cases where people have lost their homes because of natural disaster and have rebuilt. And in Florida, we see now that many insurance companies are pulling out because they really can't afford to keep funding and insuring these places that keep getting hit by these storms. And as you say, in places like Asheville, it was thought to be a climate refuge from these kinds of things. Right. So now I think you will see that really no place is safe from these kinds of storms, even places we thought were safe. So I think there will be a demand. And as you say, Project 2025 is very strict. They're for defunding a lot of things. Right. So yeah, I think that people will be looking at that Project 2025 very skeptically.
You know, Mary, there's also a big percentage of the U.S. audience that when Republicans and Trump say, look, we need less government, it plays very well to them. And they kind of ignore some of the obvious things out there, how difficult it is to get insurance in states like Florida. So how can voters distinguish between genuine climate strategies and political rhetoric as we wind down this all-important election cycle?
I think, we have such a polarized country, Sean, and people are so hardened into their positions, and they kind of believe what their leaders are telling them. So when the former President Trump says that drilling will solve our economic problems, I think a lot of people who even are in these areas will listen. But at the same time, I think Democrats will raise this as an issue more and more and say, particularly to the young people, listen, this is about our future. We're having these 500-year storms every year, it seems like. So I think that, yes, we will see climate as a bigger issue because everybody is subject to these, and they do want federal help. And that's when they see that the federal government can help them. So I think you might see some changed minds on this, and you will see the issue raised more and more. And I wonder if people will still keep saying that it's a hoax.
Yeah, we got another counterclockwise storm churning off the coast of the Atlantic right now. Okay, Mary C. Curtis, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.